Just that way it starts popping up here. The music isn't too loud, is it?
That's good.
All right. Then we'll pull up the comments over here. I don't know how it looks on yours, but it was pretty simple to set up, right? Have you ever done the StreamYard?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do these with Drew Gregory all the time.
Okay. Okay, good. So we'll get into it, but so I've got some things pulled up here. A couple odds and ends. I didn't even look to see who won the Kayak Bassmaster. Do you get into any of that? Like watch the leaderboards and stuff like that?
So Ryan Reed was doing that today on Tourney X.
Okay.
We saw that Kayak Bass like posted the like the leader. Bassmaster posted the leader of the Kayak BASS Lake Murray yesterday with 99.75 inches. I didn't know that guy. There's a couple people that I know from Instagram that fish it, like Bailey Eichbrett was in 15th yesterday, but I didn't see any of the stuff today. I've been on the water since 6 o'clock this morning, so had an awful day of fishing.
Well, we'll get into that. I'm going to cut the music. Let's go here. Oh. We're going to get rid of this guy. Hide. And hide. There we are. And let's get rid of this banner. All right. What's up, buddy?
I need to get my lighting worked out. You've got the lighting going on here.
So, you can see my shadow behind me. So I'm trying to figure that out. I want to get rid of, I got to figure something better out. But I got these two. I'll show you. I just threw the boxes away. But they're like little camera lights. They're like rectangular shape. And I got them on Amazon. They were like $15 a piece. So there's two of them behind me, behind this little box. And you can adjust the brightness and all that. But I'm trying to get it dialed back in here as far as lighting goes and whatnot. So it sounds like everybody can hear me good. So today I've got Brandon from Dust Off Fishing. Some of you guys that are more than likely on Instagram, you're familiar with Brandon. And Brandon is a military helicopter pilot. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I want to start out by saying thank you for your service, and in behalf of me and everybody that's going to show up in the chat and everybody that comes and goes, I just want to say thank you on our behalf for protecting our freedoms, man. It's one of them things that takes the right person to get into the military and make a career out of it. And I couldn't be more grateful for you guys. But my best friend's a retired Marine, and I was actually hanging out with him last night, and he tells me quite a few stories. And no, you guys are badass, 100%.
Happy to serve, man. I mean, I know people will probably not agree with this, but for me, it's just a job, like everybody else has. I know that there's differences. Obviously, I've deployed, and there's real bullets and real consequences to what we do. But I think the main thing is like if intrinsically, like if we die doing, and recently, just so you know, there was an Apache that crashed in Mississippi 2 days ago that we had some people who knew those folks, and it seems like everybody who does have a helicopter crash in the Army, it's a very small community. So it's 1% of 1%. So think of it like that when you think about Army aviation. So, we're just doing our best to come home to our families. The difference I think is a lot of people have dangerous jobs. But truthfully, like we try to do our jobs for you. So it's supposed to be, selfless. And so, for some people it is, for me it is. So I appreciate you thanking me, but to me, it's just another day. So, but
yeah, no. And again, I mean, it's one of them careers that, I get it. So like for me, it's my career, I build power lines, right? I've done it ever since I got out of high school.
Hmm.
Um, one screw up and it could be the end of your life, right? So there's a lot that goes into it. Essentially, I look at it, it's just poles and wire, right? But there's tens of thousands of volts that are within that wire that are ready to kill you if you make the wrong mistake. And it's easy to get complacent, especially when storms blow through and we're super busy and you're just grinding 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. And eventually, you get into that, you get into just robot mode, right? And that's when you get
Hmm.
complacent and guys get hurt or killed. And yeah, it's just one of the things. It was my calling. I
Hmm.
enjoy it. I get to work outside all the time. Every job's something different. Um, but no, that's what I've done. I mean, my entire career, and yeah, it's definitely what was it's definitely what was made for me. So I enjoy it.
Sorry about that
Just
distraction.
it's awfully demanding, though. It can be extremely demanding on top of life in general. They want you to live there when storms blow in and stuff like that. Like that's the expectation. Basically, you're living in the truck until all the lights are back on,
Yep, my
which
roommate in
is
college does the same thing you do. So, and he does, if there's an issue like a hurricane or whatever, they send him to, you know, Florida or Louisiana for a week or two to get the power grids back up and all that stuff. So,
yeah, I've done that. I've traveled on multiple hurricanes, ice storms. Uh, it was kind of cool because I get paid to go travel different places and just do my normal job. And it's kind of like a paid vacation, right? They put you up in hotels. You just you go out there, help the people out, and
you're in
and
Michigan, right?
correct.
So, I've been spending quite a bit of time in Traverse,
Right,
excuse me,
there you
Traverse.
go.
Oh yeah, I've been corrected on that being in Traverse City at the time. So, but yeah, I've spent a lot of time in Traverse City, and then the UP, Mackinac. I've taken a
Hmm.
vacation there. So, but I was just in Michigan the beginning of February, like 4/8.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
And that's just for work?
Yeah, yeah. So sorry, I have ADHD, so sometimes
No,
I'll
you're
be
good.
all over the place. But yeah, so you were mentioning how we call it TDY, but you were mentioning how you were TDY for work. That's kind of what we do in the military too. We do TDYs. Like I'll go to a course. One of my most favorite trips ever was I went to the UH-60 Mike model course in Fort Indian Town Gap, Pennsylvania, which is real close to Harrisburg, and the Susky. So I spent a significant amount of time fishing while I was in that course. I took my kayak up to the I drove my truck, took my kayak, and then on weekends I'd literally just pick a launch. I'd go to it. I'd throw, a tube or an RK or something, and I caught just monsters. It was so fun.
Okay, so I'm gonna get caught up on the chat here real quick. There's my buddy Darius. You may have seen some of my pictures are with him, dude. He's a kayak angler as well. More times than not, he shows me how to fish. And uh he just we're like we ham and egg it out there.
Right.
So we've got Scott Hill Outdoors. He's Michigan. He's from Michigan. He's an outdoorsman, also a fellow military veteran.
Okay. Thanks, Scott.
Um, let's see, we've got Polly Buck in here. KY Fishing. He said America. Then he had asked me if you're all are reading the chat. And yes, just so people know, I mean, I am reading the chat and I try to, but it's hard to. I mean, if I replied to everyone as they came in, it would be hard to stay on task here. I already have a hard enough time doing that already sometimes. So, uh, what do we got here? Oh, Uper. This guy. He's been following my YouTube channel ever since basically I started it. Man, he's up in the UP. He takes his kids hunting, fishing, and stuff. He's always posting pretty cool videos, short videos. Um,
Hold
yeah,
up.
he's
Don't
always
the UP guys and the main Michigan guys, don't they all like have like a rivalry or something like that?
no. Well, I think some might. They call us troll. They call us trolls because we live under the bridge,
Uh,
um, type of thing. But I'll be honest. everybody calls it God's country, and it is. But I lived up there. My wife and I lived up there back in 2011, and
Mhm.
it's rough living, man. I mean, there's uh,
Oh
everything
yeah.
seems more expensive. Water's extremely hard. I lived in St. Ignace, so I'm not really for sure where Uper lives. If it's closer to uh, some of the other cities there, but I was in St. Ignace and fun town, but rough living sometimes. Yeah, Scott Hill. We're out. Oh, actually, I'm on Drummond Island, so that's pretty cool. Drummond Island's pretty cool. So I'm gonna pull in. I got another guest here. I don't know if you're familiar with Bearded Dad, Jay.
Yep. Yeah,
Okay,
he messages me
I'm
on Instagram.
gonna pull him right up here on a chat
Yo,
here.
What's up,
what's up,
man?
boys?
What up, Jay?
Yeah, how
So
you
I
guys doing, man?
Brandon, I don't know if you. I know you're on Facebook, but are you a part of the Kayak Fishing Dads group?
I am on Facebook, but I'll be honest with you guys, like I Facebook and I are like frenemies. So it's a means to an end for me. It's just another place to put my stuff, but I don't ever really do much on it. But no, to answer your question, I don't think so. If I am, I accepted it and I don't participate.
Okay. Well, it is a pretty good one, and that's one thing I like about Facebook is the ability to have groups like that. And so there's always like Jay's got a giveaway going on right now with Impulse Rods. There's always people posting like sales and this type of stuff. Things that there's things on Instagram and Facebook that that each other are different. But that's one thing I like about Facebook is the ability to have a group like that, a public group, and share information and stuff like that. Another one Jay had started was outdoor content creators, which is a good one because it's a good one to bounce ideas off people. And see, there's a lot of engagement in that one, right?
Mhm.
Where when you get into some of these pages, it's like people just want to do like a subscribe for subscribe type of thing to your YouTube channel, and that's an ultimate failure and the worst idea you could ever do. But there is a lot of people that actually bounce ideas off each other, and so far it seems to be working out pretty good as far as the
Yeah,
group as a whole.
yeah. That's my favorite thing about Facebook too is just that community aspect. So Brandon, I feel kind of like that, but with Instagram, like I was
Mhm.
trying to avoid it at all costs, bro. Because I understand YouTube because I that's how I started, but getting into Instagram was harder for me. So I kind of did it as an obligation. Like there's people there that want to look, so I ended up just throwing stuff on. And now is when I'm trying to actually get into wheels turning a little bit more with Instagram. But
So, I kind of feel like I put my eggs in the wrong basket, sort of. So, Instagram was a lot different when I got on, mostly just photos, and it was a good place to collaborate with people like yourselves to kind of share ideas, not just content, but like fishing ideas. And, Instagram was going good for us when they started paying us for the Reels bonuses. That was nice. But they cut the Reels bonuses out, and then what I've noticed is I've I've assimilated into Instagram. I know what does well on Instagram. I know how long it needs to be. I know the tricks and the tips and all that stuff. And so that works great on Instagram, but that doesn't make me any money. I mean, I get some ad revenue from Instagram, but the money has now switched to TikTok and YouTube. And I kind of feel a bit like a duck out of water, and Facebook. And I kind of feel like a duck out of water in a lot of those places. So, Lucas, you and I were talking about this coming back over to YouTube. So I've really made an effort to get the shorts in every day, to work on my longer form video content, and try to redirect kind of a lot of my stuff. And Facebook, I think you're right, is like an untapped resource. The other thing that Facebook has, and you can confirm this or whatever, I don't know, but generally speaking, people on Facebook are older, right? Ish. Like
Mhm.
it's kind of like, millennials and boomers, right? So you have more, I would say, discretionary income on Facebook. So you have people that would probably be more willing to buy rods or buy reels or buy tackle, as opposed to some of the younger folks that have less discretionary income.
I could agree with that. Now, I want to rewind a little bit here because you were talking about the Instagram Reels bonus. So I never got involved with that. I didn't qualify for it, but I did get the Facebook Reels bonus. when they were handing those out, which I don't know what Instagram and if it was the exact same, but it was to a point where they set goal or they set goals for you. And it was like if you hit 10 videos with 1,000 views or something, you get this much. If you get this many views as a whole, you get this much. And it would reoccur every 28 days. But dude, there was some huge money to be made on Facebook. Right around a year ago, they took it away, but I was in the program for well over a year, and it was lucrative. It was lucrative to say the least. But they did away with it, and now Instagram did away with the Reels bonus as well. Yeah, yeah, which sucks because
It was not the same. It was weird. It was like it's almost like payday showed up on or whatever. Like there was a reset day, and then the Instagram had this giant pile of money, right? And so the reels that hit the most views in the first part of that giant pile of money got like front loaded money, and then everything else was just like trickled out. And so you really try to have your best stuff right at the rotation of the pay period basically. And then like the first part of that pay period you want to hit a couple bangers like right off, because you would need there were months. So my last 90 days I had 6,600,000 plays on Instagram, and I think the reach was somewhere around 500,000. So that if I had averaged 2.5 million views a month, I probably would have made somewhere around $300. That's it.
Wow.
So that's still chump change, because I'm sure you guys know this. I don't want to get too far into this rabbit hole, but basically Instagram makes money by selling to companies saying we have this many people looking at your stuff. And then they use guys like me and they say like, look at this guy. He has 9 million views on his stuff and he uses your product or whatever. So give us money. So I don't know how much a company would pay for 9 million views. Sure as hell isn't going to be $300 though. You know what I mean?
Right.
This is all like foreign to me because this was way before I got into Instagram or anything like that.
No, it's cool. And so I'm gonna pull up Brandon's here. I'm gonna do I'm gonna present and share screen, and I'm gonna pull up. We'll just pull up his Instagram account for people that are not familiar with it. And this is it right here. Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see. Okay. So now are these pinned? No, because this is a recent video of yours. I remember watching it.
That was yesterday. And so I got 2 videos yesterday that were at 476 and 188.
And so you guys that may be watching that aren't familiar with Instagram, so you have posts. So these are posts. So this is a mixture of pictures and the short form videos, the reels. But it seems like Instagram has turned into TikTok more than anything, and everybody posts the reels. And so we're just taking an inside look at Brandon's content here.
Yeah, so like that one has solid. 1 million. Yeah. Yes. So it's kind of funny. It's like I'll go 7K, 4K, 5K, 1 million, 1.6.
Yeah, you got 1 million right here. Yeah.
Well, I know what does. So I know what'll do work, and I like, but you have to sprinkle in like SponCon is what I call it. So sponsored content. So like, look at the thumbnail that you have over right now, like the one. With that, that one. You see how like Martin's Custom Baits is in the forefront and Pride Rods is in the forefront there on the kayak. Like that's not on accident. So you have to find. I would tell people like I would say when you're working with a company, like you need to find a way to get that company in people's face without putting it in their face, if that makes sense. So instead of saying like, "Hey, this is an Apple iPhone. I really like it. You should buy it and use my link in bio." That never works. How many times have you guys gone to somebody's page right after they said that and like bought whatever the hell it was that they and use their link, truthfully, because nobody does that either. Like you go, okay, I think that's cool. I like that box. Let's go to Google and see if I can find it for like the cheapest price out there. And then you go buy it from Tackle Warehouse or Sportsman's USA or wherever else. And then I never see a dime of that sale. So that's another thing that I'll get into if you guys want to later, is affiliate codes and how that stuff does for me.
Yeah, and so with influencers in general, Jay and I were talking about this maybe in a text message. Because Jay and I, there's a few of us that text each other. I mean, frequently. Now Jay and I have never met in person, but I talk to him on a daily basis, right? And we're out. So with like YouTube, we're constantly bouncing ideas off each other. And he sends me a thumbnail or this or that. He wants my opinion, and I give him my honest opinion. What I should change, this, that, and he does the same for me, as well as a few others of us. But shit, where was I going with that one? Influencers. So it's like, to me, I'm just like, exactly what you said. I have not bought a single piece of tackle. Okay, so one plastic bait I bought was because of Mark Zona uses it. Mark Zona is an absolute hammer. And it's the Baby Z2 drop shot bait. The only reason I bought it is because I watched him on Lake St. Clair absolutely crush smallies on a drop shot with it. That's the only time I can think of that I've actually watched a video and was like, I need to buy that I can remember. I'm sure subconsciously I've done it before. I just never paid that close attention. But it's got to be tough for the influencer type thing to make money off of. And you were talking, and if you want to segue into it, the codes and stuff like that, like you have, hey, use my code to save 10% type of thing. Now, that's
Yeah.
something you're getting away for more of, right? Like you're kind of backing off more of those. Is what you were
Yeah,
getting
to an
at?
extent. So like the companies use basically product and codes and commissions to limit the amount of risk that they have involved in associating or affiliating with you, right? So it depends. Like Catch USA is a company that everybody that has a kayak is familiar with, right? Like you need to have a catch board to fish in a kayak tournament. So their pro staff is relatively small. They don't really have a pro staff. So they offered me kind of a product and commission type deal with them. But to me, that's like super simple. I have a catch board on my kayak every time I fish in it. I use Catch products. I love their stuff. I have 3 catch boards. And there's not a whole lot of codes out there. Like Waterland is a company that I love, but they have a ton of people on their pro staff. So who do you buy your sunglasses from? Do you buy them from Dust Off, or do you buy them from the Cruise Louisiana guy, or do you buy them from Lord Lucas? Or I mean, there's just a ton of people. So I try to find like products. If I'm not going to get paid like specifically to work with the company, then I need to find a product that is super easy for me to represent without having to do a lot of dedicated content for that company, because I don't have a ton of time, like we talked about. So Catch is an example of a company that I would take some risk on, thinking that, okay, I'll be able to establish basically a base and a commission and make, just passive income off of this code with those guys. But I'll tell you, like clothing companies, they're everywhere, and they always come out and they want to send me shirts or sweatshirts or whatever. And it's like, I have more sweatshirts and shirts than I could shake a stick at. So at that point, it's like, I don't need sweatshirts. I don't need you. You need me. So you have to kind of show me the money basically at that point, because
Right.
there's absolutely no benefit for me to, like, I'll give you an example of something that I did a product deal for. You guys are familiar because you're Jay, you're from up north, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in
So
PA.
okay, so like Striker is a clothing company that you're familiar with because they do ice fishing suits. Well, they're expensive and I needed one. So why not work with a company like Striker, do some content for them? They throw me an ice fishing suit. We don't even have a deal. Like we don't have an agreement or anything like that. And I do a couple pieces of content. I got $1,100 worth of ice fishing clothing suit stuff, so I can not freeze my butt off in the middle of the winter. Win-win. So those are also kind of deals that I like to look for. But the affiliate code can be good if you're starting out. But I always tell people, I recommend anyway, is that if you just start social media and you start seeing companies reach out to you, wait like a year from the first day that somebody reaches out to you. Just tell everybody no for a year and figure out and like watch and see what everybody else does, and then understand how to go about getting into that and asking for money. That's the hardest part, is how do you value yourself? how do you show people what you're worth?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's tricky. If I could just jump in there real quick, I've
Yeah.
noticed that too, because when I started even with YouTube, there were certain companies that would reach out, and at first it's almost like it always tends to be like these overseas companies, which a lot of them still reach out, and obviously some I respect more than others. Some are just like no name brands. But when I first noticed that they would just, like you said, the clothing brands, everyone's got it. It's got to be something that I have to be interested in to want it. So like you did with that float suit or that dry suit, I did with my first big one was a 100 amp hour lithium battery with Red Odo. So I needed a battery. So I was like, whatever, it's easy to make content for a battery, and it ended up working out for me because now I have like a longer relationship with them. I've been working with them for like the last year, and they actually sponsor the Facebook group on a monthly basis, to put their logo on the corner, and I do like four monthly posts for them. But there are a lot of those like no name brands that will reach out, and if it's more work than I care to even put in for some product I don't give a crap about, I'm not gonna do it either. Because yeah, there are a dime a dozen like people that reach out.
Yeah, and there's fishing especially is bad about that. The fishing, I don't know, genre, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So I've really tried to focus less on expecting companies like that are specifically only fishing to pay, and that's okay. I have everything I need. I have 2 kayaks, a boat, all the tackle I can need, all the batteries I can need. Like I don't need any of that, so I don't have to affiliate. And if they want to do some ad hoc stuff, we could talk about that. But getting in with companies um like you kind of said, like Timu reached out to me. Timu's like a big company. They have a budget, they have money. That's another thing, is like understanding how company budgets work and when they spend and when they don't and who they spend on. Those are all things that like I'm learning. I have these awesome, intense conversations with Chad Hoover and Drew Gregory about kind of the business side of kayak fishing, which really is this year has been my focus primarily, is like, okay, I have a base built here. Now I need to figure out, like we talked about, how to value myself. And so there's metrics you can use with YouTube. YouTube is a really great platform to figure out what your ad revenue is basically, or what your advertising worth is. It's a little harder on Instagram, and especially if you water down your content like I do sometimes. I'll water down my content with like funny stuff, but I like funny stuff, so I don't really care. But I try to sprinkle in or diversify my content so that I'm still marketable to companies, but at the same time, I still get to do what I want with my page.
Yeah. And so YouTube is the companies, and I send Jay the emails I get, and there's some funny ones, man. These companies that reach out to me, like I had a company trying to send me dick pills, and and I was
I have a
gonna
story about that.
incorporate it. My one buddy Brian's like, dude, you shouldn't, because I deleted the email, and I'm like, I ain't doing this. And he's like, dude, you should, because it'd be hilarious. And I'm like, but just the random stuff. But
So I think
it's
those
not.
guys reached out to me too. Trojan.
I
Was it
don't know.
Trojan?
I don't even remember which company it was. I took a screenshot of it. It's probably still in our group chat, but
Well,
it was
let me pitch it for you. Does your boat not launch like it used to? Does your lure not cast as far?
whoa, he's
I
got the
mean,
balloons going.
there's so many possibilities.
Oh, dude, it was no, because Brian was coming up with some funny ones. He's like, "Does your rod got too much bend in it? It needs a little more stiffness." Are you looking for a
Yeah.
stiffer rod? Well, I got
Now
it right here for it.
think about how that, like, honestly, truthfully, that would slay, like absolutely slay. Like people would eat that up.
Oh, for sure. But I just at the time I was like, man, this is ridiculous. I laughed about it because I'm like, just the random companies that reach out. And I've been doing YouTube for since 2020-ish. End of 2020. Yeah, at the end of 2020 I started. And from the beginning, not really the beginning, but after about 6 months in, I started getting emails like we were just talking about, and it's hard to like. I've done a lot of reviews in the past, and I'm trying to really limit the amount because even though it's just like good filler content, if I ain't got a video to put in or something like that, I just hate doing it. Um, so I had a company reach out to me. It was PC Fun, and they're like, "Hey, are you interested in working together? We'll send you the catalog, pick some stuff out, and you can review it." I responded. I said, I literally need zero ice fishing gear. I have so much ice fishing gear. I don't need anything. But what I would like to try is your float suit because they got that um, ice fishing float suit. So if you're to fall through, you're supposed to stay afloat. So they went ahead and sent me not only one float suit, they sent me two float suits. They also sent me an ice fishing shanty. They sent me two reels, two rods, and the expectation was to do a review on them all, which I did. You know, I met the expectation, but I was like, man, I don't mind doing it. I feel like I can put together a good review video. You know, I can talk my way through it, and I try to do it organically. Like I don't write a script for it or nothing. Like when I did the shanty, I literally took it out on the ice, never even opened it yet, unzipped everything organically, and just so people understood because I couldn't find some stuff for it, and then I found it. But like some of the poles were missing, but they were inside the shanty. You know, um, I can talk my way through a review pretty good. I just don't like doing them because a lot of the stuff I already have. I did a battery review, like Jay was saying, but I really wanted that float suit, but they pinned me down with having, we'll give you the float suit. Actually, we'll give you two, but on top of that, we need all these other reviews. And I was like, man. So I did it, but it's just to me, it's not the type of stuff I got into doing this for, but I will occasionally do it. But it's amazing. People in the chat maybe don't realize how many emails just the three of us probably turn down on a daily basis to uh not do the stuff, you know, and just random stuff. Like a company offered me a battery operated chainsaw. Um Today, actually, I got a review today, and I'm gonna look or a email today. I'm gonna look more into it. A company started a new editing software program, and they want me to. I got to fill out a contract. I got to create videos on it. I got to do some soft mentions, but they're willing to pay up to $5,000 for um, specifically using their editing software and making a mention in it in like 6 videos. So I'm gonna look more into that, but I thought it was pretty cool because that's different. That's outside of the fishing industry, right? Like you were talking about working outside of the fishing industry itself with brands. That's another way to do it that can be extremely lucrative because the fishing brands are so saturated with content creators and influencers and all this other stuff. And it's almost like it almost turns me off, you know, like I would rather work with these companies that are kind of outside looking in. You know, that maybe want a little more exposure in a different way. Like I worked with Omnia, and I know Jay worked with Omnia on YouTube. We had to do a couple mentions on some of their videos, or their new app they came out. A few different videos we had to mention their app that they have, the Premium Pro app, which they were really cool to work with, and that was simply, hey, this is what we want, this is what we're going to pay you, and I like that kind of deal because it was relatively easy. But it wasn't here's a bunch of gear. I'm going to need you to take time to review it all, shoot the video, edit the video, and then you just get the free gear. And it's like, no, like that was cool with Omnia where it was just like, here, review this for us and mention it in a few of your videos. We'll cut you a couple checks, which was nice.
Yeah, and it kind of depends. I've noticed that if a company's mature enough, they know what they're looking for, and Omnia knows what they're looking for. So they made it real simple. It was here's like our 3 requirements, and it made it easier for us, like Lucas said, but it also I think turned into better content because we weren't tied down to like 100 different things that we had to say or do. So I did work with Timu a couple months ago, I think October, and they reached out to me to get some exchange for a review, and they were going to pay me like $250 to mention some of their stuff. At first, I was hesitant because it's Timu, but then after like maybe like a month or 6 weeks later, after realizing how big Timu was and actually using it myself, I was like, well, they got some kayak fishing accessories, so I found a way to spin it where I'm not trying to sell dog crap. And I did it, and they were actually really cool to work with, but they did have a lot of constraints. I think the first one minute and a half of the video, I had to say this whole spiel about what they wanted about their return policy and special codes and all this stuff. So I think ultimately I framed it in a way that people still wanted to watch with kayak fishing accessories. So I mean that video did all right, but it was more so for the check. I'm not gonna really use those those accessories because it's just that type of quality. But
So Off the Hook Outdoors had a question before this one, but I like what they're saying here, talking about contracts. So he asked if you're having a hard time getting contracts. People generally just want to do the ambassador.
Oh, I
stuff.
I highlighted that comment because I liked it as well. So let me go back here. I'm gonna click on it.
Okay, so yes, I do have a contract, a paid contract with a company. One. But again, like I said, this year was like a get rid of everything year for me. So like the affiliate program thing, to me, affiliate program isn't necessarily a bad word. In fact, it's probably a good way to kind of get your feet wet in this, but you can't come in with the expectation that I don't know. I just think a lot of people come in and they're like, I want to get paid, or I want this, or I want that. There's a lot about like, what can you do for me kind of stuff involved in fishing. And I think companies probably get turned off. I fish and work with a lot of small business owners in fishing, and they get tired of the pro staff, send me free jigs, whatever stuff. And I totally get that. And what's funny is like, the company's complaining about people wanting free jigs, and I'm telling people like, I don't want your jigs. Like, stop giving me stuff. I don't need them. I have 3 edge boxes full of jigs I can't fish with because I'm under a jig company contract, and so I guess my point is what I would recommend to anybody who's listening to this who wants to get into content creators stuff and wants to make money doing it is, get on platforms like Creatorland or Impact or I'm drawing a blank, but there's a bunch of like kind of third party websites where you sign up, you link your stuff to the place, your insights and stuff, and then companies are there. They can see you. They also have campaigns where you can pick stuff to do with them, and it's all in there. It's like, okay, you have to have this many thousand followers, this is what your engagement rate needs to be, this is what we're paying for this product post, et cetera, et cetera. You bid on it, you say yes, they accept you, they send you the product, you do it, you get paid at the end. There's none of this like, you can't fish with this plastic over this plastic. Like, there's none of that with stuff like that. So, and most of those companies are outside of fishing. Like I said, companies outside of fishing are kind of one of the ways that you can kind of get money to do this without having to have the platform itself pay you. Another way to do it is if you've ever worked with or traveled someplace, stop in and talk to the Chamber of Commerce, talk to the tourism director. Those places have budgets. And if you say, hey, I'm a content creator, I've got 60,000 followers on Instagram. I want to come to your place, shoot some content. Here's some examples. He said something about a portfolio. Here's some stuff that I do that would probably fit something you're looking for. Here's this. I want this much. So, expenses and $500 or whatever. Most of those companies will do that. Like most of those communities will do that. If they're trying to increase their tourism towards fishing, you kind of have to have that requirement. But stuff like that's also another way to kind of get in there.
Yeah, you mentioned
buddy of mine-
Creatorland.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Jay.
Did you have a lot of success with those type of like third party platforms?
So I did like SwiftKnot through one of those. That was a paid collaboration. I am working towards a large auto manufacturer agreement through one of those platforms. There has the Trojan thing that I told you about was a paid collaboration through those platforms. So I don't know if it's a scam per se, but like Impact is probably one of the big ones. I'll see if I can look up a couple more, but yeah, I've had some luck. mixed results, but I mean, it's definitely something that can be in your tool bag.
Yeah, I remember the creator land thing was going around, and I'm pretty sure I signed up for it, and that's probably why I get so many emails. Because I see Brian's comment here. It said creator land. I was asked to join, and I thought it was a scam.
Yeah, Primer is another one. So that was one that had a flag company that reached out to me for a paid collaboration. Share a sale, that's a different type of program.
Do you get a lot of people that, or a lot of brands that reach out to you directly just by finding your content organically?
Yeah, like 90% of every, like, I've kind of stopped reaching out to companies, again, mostly because this year I offloaded a lot, but two, because, like, think of it like this: if I reach out to you and I ask you for something, depending on the product, you know, you have the leverage at that initial interaction, you know, like, so the things you really have to have together is your business proposal and then the backup products for it. And I just haven't wanted something bad enough to that level, or I'm just physically unable to be prepared to present something like that, you know, that large right now. But yeah, I mean, I have, but 90% of it is organic, and it's usually through email.
Okay.
So a buddy of mine has a actual kayak fishing TV show on Discovery and Sportsman Channel. Might be it's one of them outdoor channels on cable TV, but he's also on Discovery Plus, and all that. So what he does is he takes the average guy, or whether it's a firefighter, or he goes and does a day in the life of what they do, and then he takes that person and it's a day in the life of what he does, which is kayak fishing. And you know, a lot of his sponsors are outside of the fishing industry, companies like AmeriGas, you know, giant company, right? Propane and stuff like that. So, and he had told me, he said that's his most lucrative deals are when he is outside the fishing industry, you know, and he works with Berkeley and, you know, brands like that that hook him up with the gear. But he said where he makes his money is outside of that, which is, you know, brands like that that are getting some extra exposure through his TV show. But again, so with kayak fishing, so I'm gonna just do a little hop here. So you're a lot like me, Brandon. You have a boat. Now I've owned multiple boats. I believe you got like a tracker or something, right? Track a Targa or something like that. Okay, so I had similar boat. Now a lot of people don't know this about me, because a lot of people that follow me on here haven't known me but for 4 years or so. But I used to be big time salmon fisherman. I had a 21-foot walk around bow cuddy cabin. I'd troll Lake Michigan for king salmon, lake trout. Got into a lot of walleye trolling. I used to do tournament fishing for walleye trolling. And then I kind of got out of it. I had to do a lot of traveling to hit these fisheries. But when I moved to where I'm at now, ended up buying another boat, and I only found myself using it when it was really cold, to where I was like, I want to take the kayak, but the boat just seemed like where it was at. I wanted to be in the boat, but I found myself not using the boat after it warmed up, and I just fell in love with the kayak, and it's become part of who I am, right? That's what I do. But I no longer own a boat, don't plan on owning a boat moving forward unless a company wants to give me a boat. That would be a product that I'd be willing to take for free eventually, you know. But so what's your opinion? Like, do you prefer the boat? I know I don't see you on it very often. I know I catch you crappie fish and stuff like that occasionally on it, but
no, I think I need a boat to get better at fishing, though, if I'm being honest. Like,
really?
Well, so I go out with a couple guys a lot on their nitros, you know, and they have the live scope on the front. And I've learned quite a bit from those experiences. And so to me, like to answer kind of your question directly and kind of wrap back around, I am exactly like you. If I could just fish the James River on a kayak every time and catch, 10 pounders, I would do that. But I know that I'm limited just based off the body of water on size of fish or quantities of fish. And so, or if I ever want to be famous for fishing, like I need to be better at fishing. I always kind of joke around with these guys like Drew Gregory. I'm like, I know why I'm invited to the Kayak Adventure Series. It's not because I'm going to go catch 100 inches at the tournament. It's because of this sort of thing that we're doing right now. I'm not afraid
Right.
to stand up in front of a camera and say what comes to my brain. But to answer the question, I don't fish out of it very much. I used to do kind of like you said. I would use it if it was winter and lakes because it's safer than a kayak, but it's found its way into the garage all winter and I'm tearing stuff off of it to put on my kayak. So I would tell you that in the near future, the plan is probably to sell that boat, and then we'll decide what we're going to do after that some other time.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Old Town Autopilot is going to have double graphs, live scope, just like you got, and it's going to be the primary fishing vessel. But I think you need kind of the ability to explore. Like if you go to Florida, for example, like, I don't know, exploring a lake is probably easier on a bigger boat than it would be on like a kayak. So you see more things like grass and trees and wood and stained water and clear water all in the same day versus breaking that up into 4 days.
True. Yeah, I mean that makes a great point. I mean, to be able to access bodies of water like that, but then again, on the flip side of that, like where I'm at, there's untapped resources where boats can't go that are quote unquote private bodies of water, or areas where, like, I've gone down culverts where a boat ain't getting. I barely got through in my kayak and got out the other side, and there's bass in there that probably never seen a jig or a swim bait or a chatterbait, and there's big bass in them areas where boats can't get to them. So, but I get what you're saying, and to be able to go maybe a little more offshore. But the way these kayaks do that, you're relatively new to the autopilot, right? This year. Yeah, so Jay's been in one for a couple years. I just got mine last fall, dude, and I mean, this is it is a badass. It is a badass boat. I love it.
Well, so the guys who won at Table Rock last weekend, I know that they fished a brush pile in this creek and then they moved to a different creek and fished a different brush pile and then moved to another brush pile on a point and then moved, like, what I'm noticing is that at least in the winter or when you're doing offshore fishing, like in the middle of the summer in the winter, like the ability to, I hate to say it like this, but like brush pile jump is probably going to help you more so than kind of the stuff that like I learned to do, which was, okay, you find a productive area, you fish that area and then you leave it. You let it rest for a while, then you come back to that area again and you get some more productivity out of it. Cause that's what kayak guys got to do, right? Cause we can't just like go to the other part of the lake and then another part of the lake. We've got to work an area over and
Yes.
over and over again and squeeze it for every ounce of juice that it's got. So I'm not saying that there aren't similar bags in kayaks and bass tournaments, but I know like when guys are fishing offshore, it does benefit them to be able to move in a larger area just to identify those brush piles and rock piles and, transition areas and those sorts of things.
Yeah, essentially 100%. But at the same time, one thing I noticed when I had my boat and I was on Lake St. Clair, I wanted to be in 10 different spots at once, 20 different spots at once. And the issue with that is I was leaving fish to find more fish. We're in the kayak now, especially with live scope. What I'm learning is there's a lot more fish there than what I caught. And you can hit them on a different angle. With the kayak, you if they're out in front of you 40 feet, you can circle around them, try to throw back at them the other way, give them a different angle. But it's amazing what you what you can learn going on under the water with live scope, but I'm able to take an area and really pick it apart until they're either done biting or the fish moved out. But the issue I had with the boat was again, like your ADHD thing, like I wanted to be everywhere all the time. So if I didn't get bit in the first 10 casts, I was moving. I want to go to the next spot. I want to go to the next spot. I want to go to the next spot. And Darius can, if he's still in here, he can attest to that because him and I had been on my boat together. And I mean, no sooner we get the trolling motor down, start casting. If we didn't get bit, we'd check another spot. Kind of counterproductive as well. More than the kayak, you got to grind it out. You know, you're stuck there in the area, got to figure it out. And the beauty with live scope, man, it's amazing to know what's going on down there, that there's even life where you're casting, and every cast you're making is a targeted cast, whether it's directly at a fish or it's at a piece of grass that's underwater and there could be a fish hiding in there, or it's a giant boulder like on Lake St. Clair and you can't see a fish behind it, but you know there's going to be a smallmouth behind it. As soon as you swim your swim bait past it, he's going to come out and destroy it. So tools like that have made me a better angler. And actually, I enjoy fishing a lot more with live scope. People, for whatever reason, hate it and hate watching it on TV. But man, I fell in love with it the first time I used it. I don't see myself going without it unless I'm fishing like topwater stuff or super shallow where it's not going to do me any good, you know?
Yeah, I'm excited to get into that, man. I just got my live scope literally yesterday. So it's in the box.
You're going to be hooked, dude.
Yeah, but to put a bow on this, I like kayak fishing better, and I probably won't have a boat. Or if I do, it'll be like something less ostentatious that I can just, like, if I'm taking somebody, like a family, like I've had a lot of people that goes like, hey, will you take my kid fishing? Or, hey, we're going to come down. Can we go fishing? You know, and so, you know, taking a 3-year-old on kayak is not kind of the ideal thing. And we have a place at the Lake of the Ozarks. So we have a stall dock. So I've got a place to put it and set it and just use it when I need to. But I know that's a luxury. I had somebody comment on one of my posts one time that you can't hide money or something like that. And like, I know that I'm lucky to have a lot of the stuff that I do. So that's another reason why I work so hard, is because, you know, I don't really have an excuse. Like, there's nothing holding me back except me. So, and I've earned everything I have. Like you said, like it's all military. It's all, you know, like saving and the American way and all that other stuff. But at the same time, like, you know, I have all the resources at my, you know, hands here. I just need to figure out how to use them. And I think that's one of the things that, looking back on the last 3 years, if I tell anybody, it's like everybody always wants the quick fix. Everybody always wants like the live scope. Like, okay, Jay, you got live scope, so you should be able to go catch a 20-pound bag tomorrow, right? And that's just not how it works. Like, it's another tool that you need to figure out how to implement it in a way that's effective for the style or the weather conditions or the location or whatever all the other variables are that come into play when you go fishing. And that's the same with Instagram. That's the same with YouTube, whatever. There is no secret ingredient, like Kung Fu Panda says. Like, it's just tweaks, you know, it's like small incremental changes over time equal big changes. So that's what you do. You make small incremental changes to the formula that you found that kind of works until you have it dialed in. And then now you're rolling.
And so we'll touch on YouTube a little bit here. Now you're dedicating more time to that platform. Is that what you were saying? Moving forward?
Yeah. So I, at the beginning of the year, decided I was going to transition to focus more on YouTube. And so, like, you know, you go to those analytics, and I've, you know, over the last 28 days, I've got 40,000 views, which is 25,000 more than usual, 720 watch hours, which is 610 more than usual, and 111 subscribers, which is 78 more than usual. So like all the little green arrows they give you on YouTube are going up. And basically the formula for that for me has been do a short every day I posted at the same time. I'm a creature of habit. I think viewers are creatures of habit. They expect to see your stuff on a regular basis on a rotational time period. I don't know, maybe not, but and then I try to get one long form video out every 2 weeks. I think that's doable for my schedule. And you know, we all have those fishing trips that are all like busts, and so you're kind of pulling out of your butt to figure out what you're going to put up for, you know, that week's video or whatever. And I think 2 weeks is a sustainable model for me.
That's definitely a good start. I've kind of bounced around. Since I started doing YouTube, I always try to do at least one long form a week. And I started doing YouTube Shorts before it was even like a platform, right? It was like in the beta testing thing, and it was just the algorithm is still completely wild. And I'm sure you've already noticed, you'll see it if it'll take off immediately, and then it looks like Brian made this comment the other day. It looks like the doctor lost a patient because it goes straight up and then it flatlines.
Mhm.
Now I've had some over time shorts will gradually keep gaining, keep gaining, keep gaining. I've had them go straight up, go flat, go straight up, go flat. The algorithms, to me, the shorts algorithm is no different than Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. It's keeping somebody's attention long enough to watch the whole video and then potentially even watch it again or halfway through, and to follow it with a like or comments or stuff like that. But with the shorts, what I've found now, this is me, because I'll incorporate short form content as like supplemental. That's all I use it for. Like I will not post a short every day. I've done trials where I did 3 shorts a day for 30 days. The only thing I got out of it was a subscriber count. Sure, you get more watch time, you get views, but what I'm trying to do on YouTube from the beginning, because that's been my bread and butter, that's where I started social media, was on YouTube. What I'm trying to do is build a community that wants to watch my long form content, because that's where the revenue comes from. Dude, I've got some YouTube shorts that have over 80,000 views, and I mean it's a $1.50 they'll pay you for stuff like that. But what it does, to me, YouTube Shorts is just supplemental. I don't want it to be the bread and butter. My bread and butter is going to be the long form. I'll pull up present. I'll just pull up a quick look at my analytics. I'm going into the forbidden area, but people that are watching will get to see. So here's my analytics. 3,000 watch time hours. The last 28 days. My views are down. That's because I haven't been hardly putting out any shorts. So I could double those numbers in a week. But I know my average is right around 40,000, 30,000, and that's specifically for long form content. See, it's a 1K less than normal. So I try not to inflate my numbers through short form content. Subscribers are way down, which has me thrown off. Whatever. And revenues is what it is. It's right around where it's supposed to be. But as you can see, it's just my bar chart. I mean, I did a dip here, but it's all kind of just right in here, So that's just for me being transparent. But any advice I can give you, because you shared solid advice through TikTok, and if you have any questions moving forward with YouTube and stuff like that, I've learned properly timed videos, because with YouTube, there's things that are popular. Certain seasons, like I'm a deer hunter. Dude, I had a deer hunting video, and I'll talk about this another time, but I accidentally deleted a video that had 86,000 views in 3 weeks. And it was a 70-minute video. It was a long form film type video. It was a 70-minute video. My average view duration was 28 minutes, which is crazy numbers. To get somebody to watch your video for 28 minutes before they click off or fast forward or whatever is crazy. So there is a lot of things like timing, like new baits come out. Like let's say you go fishing, you suck it up, you didn't catch nothing. It's always an opportunity to talk about a new bait that come out, things like that. Because those always seem to get good views. But for me, it's like really good timed videos and topics always do the best. I would rather wait around for those opportunities than to try to go out and grind out a video that is going to get like 300 views or something and make me feel down about it. Because for me, the only time I've gotten this creator burnout, which I don't know if you've got it on Instagram, because you grind out a lot of content on Instagram, but I've experienced creator burnout on YouTube dozens of times. And to stay away from that, I'm trying to not constantly put out videos. I'm just trying to put out the right ones now, I guess. But any advice I can give you as far as shorts, like they're great, but all you're going to get from it is a subscriber count. You're going to gain subscribers, but those subscribers, and Jay can attest to this, they're not going to watch your long form videos. They don't transfer over. In 4 years, I've had 1 or 2 people that found me via YouTube Shorts and are still watching my long form videos. Outside of that, the people that subscribe to me through the short form content are basically robots because I never see or hear from them, and they don't watch my long form stuff ever. The guys that watch my long form stuff are the guys that are in the chat right now. These names are always in my comment section. Which I appreciate that. And that's why I started this whole journey. Michigan Fisherman, here's another one. Creator burnout is real. And Brian does phenomenal videos. His gear reviews are some of the best ones I've ever watched. He takes his time. He's really particular about his gear reviews, and it shows through the views he gets on the videos. But if there's any advice I can give, short form content to me is not for YouTube. Like we were saying earlier, TikTok is a platform, Facebook, Instagram, those are all great platforms for short form. But YouTube, I haven't found any benefit to growing my channel through short form content other than your subscriber count. And I don't know if Jay wants to tap in, because I know Jay's been doing YouTube a while, and he's got some videos that have been out and they've got hundreds of thousands of views. So he's got, I'm sure, a similar perspective or different.
So, I mean, my perspective is that I hate shorts. Anything short form, man, I just hate it. I will watch some of it. I'll consume some, but I hate I feel like it's a grind to have to push them out. So that's why, like, if I do them, it's out of pure necessity, like just to feed the machine a little bit. But like Lucas said, your shorts viewers are going to be different because the viewing habits of someone looking like scrolling up through shorts is way different than the long form ones. So I would just echo with what Lucas said, that it's I won't say it's a waste of time, but you will get subscribers from it. But now, from my understanding, anyone that's trying to work with you through YouTube is looking more at your watch hours, which is going to be a different metric that you're not really picking up on from shorts. But there's success in them. Like it's a different metric. Like before, where you can say, I have 50,000 subscribers, and you knew that person was grinding for years. Someone could pick that up now in a couple weekends because they're just pumping out shorts like crazy.
And I've seen it. I've seen it personally. Like people grow big channels, but their long form content. Okay, let's say you have 20,000 subscribers. Well, their long form content's only averaging 200, 300 views. Mm-hmm. And so if you click and look at their channel, you look and they have 1 million shorts on there, and it's not a bad thing. It's just a different platform. One thing I'm going to utilize more of. So if you go live on YouTube now and you use your cell phone, one thing they're doing is if you go vertical live, it puts you into that shorts algorithm. It's like, I don't know if you guys have gone live on TikTok before, but I have, and you get like hundreds of people just randomly show up and then they start fading out. That's what's happening on YouTube. If you go vertically live, it puts you in that shorts algorithm and it brings a lot of people in. It's just a new way to get exposure. I've been doing them. I started doing them when I'm waiting for my kid to pick her up after school. I'm waiting in the school pickup line, and I'll go live in my vehicle for 20 minutes just to bullshit. But that's just something new, I guess, that they're doing. But I do like doing shorts. Don't get me wrong, but I just use them for supplemental. Like you're working out, you want to eat right, you want to eat healthy, you want to eat clean. You're going to take some supplements to supplement your diet. So consider the YouTube your main meat and potatoes, but if you need a little extra protein, dump a short in there. Is kind of how I took the approach.
Yeah.
And I've noticed if you really go hog wild with the shorts, it will hurt your long form videos. Because when I did 3 a day for 30 days, this was like a challenge Gary Vee had put out. So I did it, and people were getting sick of it because I was blowing up their feed. But honestly, I didn't see any like cool growth out of it. Like I had a few of them take off and do good, but there was no satisfaction for me at the end of it. And I worked hard on them. They were all brand new, original type content. It wasn't just stuff I clipped out of somewhere else, or I took time and just shot a bunch of different videos. And it was a grind, but I was like, man, that was stupid. Let's see,
Yes.
Brian.
Yes, I just found out recently you can dig in through the YouTube analytics. You could dig into the analytics of your video, the specific video, and see how many of your viewers came from shorts. And also how many returning viewers are shorts viewers or long form viewers. And I found this maybe a week ago, and I was lucky if a video got more than 2 views from a short form viewer.
What's funny is it's like I have this video that's only got 196 views right now. I put it out a week ago, but my average view duration is 9 minutes, which is way up. So it's one of my better videos, but it's just not doing well. So I never really, I'm still trying to figure out, like, I know when I put a video out on Instagram, I know whether it'll do well. Now, do I know if it's going to get 1 million or if it's going to get 50,000? I don't, but I know basically that if I put something out on Instagram, it will get at least 50,000 views. Like, I know that for a fact. Some of them are surprises and some of them I know won't, but for the most part, if I like, I'll tell my wife, I'm like, this one's going to blow up. And then like 30 seconds later, it'll have, 1,000 views. And I'm like, yep, I knew that was going to happen. I'm still trying to figure that out on YouTube. And I know I've been watching, like, kind of like you guys were talking about, doing the research. One of the things I was watching last night was like correlating the thumbnail and the title with the intro into the video. So there was this guy who was like, had an egg in space that he was going to drop. It was like the biggest drop from space. And so the thumbnail was literally just like him holding an egg in space. And then the immediate video started with, this is an egg. This is space. Let me tell you why I'm dropping an egg from space. And then that instantly like got them hooked into, okay, well, yeah, I want to know why. And then just stuff like that, you don't really generally think about, but the gist of it is this. If I'm going to watch something, what gathers my attention and keeps it? And then I need to find that and replicate that for my viewers.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And the first 30 seconds are probably one of the most important parts of the video. Absolutely.
Yeah, and truthfully, like, the intro is like the afterthought for me. So like today I filmed and I didn't do an intro because I want to figure out the intro as like the start, like right away, whatever that is, and do it the right way.
Do you guys script your videos? Long form?
I don't, but I'm going to start.
Yeah.
I
So
do
that.
for the talking head videos. Like if I'm reviewing something or talking about kayaks or stuff like that. Yes, I cliff notes and then I go over them. But if I'm just shooting a video to go out fishing, like an entertainment video, no. But I do my intros organically, but like when I'm doing an intro, it may be like a sub intro because my intro isn't like the intro, like, hey guys, welcome back, this and that. Like, that's not my intro. That may be like the secondary intro. My intro might be I'm looking to get something to grab attention for the viewer. Be like, wow, this looks cool. I want to watch this, especially if it's a action video, right? Like the musky fishing video I did. The intro to me was extremely important because it was an hour-long video. So I wanted to grab people's attention to be able to want to watch it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. When Brandon was saying like trying to figure out that, like figure out like what makes a successful or not. So, and like we were saying about the hook. So, I mean, every video is going to be different. Some are going to do, like you said, like some surprise you and do really well when you weren't expecting it, or some surprise you and do really bad when you were. But like for me, I watch a lot of Think Media, Ben Johnson Creative, a lot of those guys that talk YouTube. That's if you haven't gotten into that, Brandon, those are super helpful guys because
Hmm.
YouTube's its whole monster, as you know. But one thing I learned from Think Media, and things work for me because I'm thick headed. So things that are simplified work and they'll stick to me. One thing that Think Media put out one time was when you set your hook or in your intro, the first 30 seconds, you state the problem, you agitate the problem, and then you offer a solution. And I've been using that formula for all my videos. Whenever I do script my intro, so I'm a little bit different than you guys because I don't do a lot of fishing videos like on the water, because I found out those don't do great for me because I'm not a renowned fisherman. Like I'm not a great fisherman either. But I'll put them out. I'll put out like one or two a year, but most of the time it's talking head videos reviewing this or doing, comparison video or whatever. But so it gives me a lot more chances to script my videos, and then that's when I'll always script out my intro, even if I don't word it exactly like that when I'm filming. It gives me like the guideline to follow, and I'll try to do that. I'll state the issue or state the problem, agitate it, and then offer the solution. And I mean, it helps me at least formulate the intro when I'm writing it.
Oh, absolutely.
Love it. Took notes.
Yeah, 100%. So like my action videos, and I'm going to share this. Like I try to do something that is just that's quick, um, but grabs attention. So we'll go here. So we have this. So, and one thing I do, Brandon, and I'm doing more of, is I change my thumbnails. I make, like, you see this thumbnail right here? You see, I'm wearing a fucking mask, but I caught that fish on Halloween, so it was part of the trip, right? But I make multiple thumbnails, okay? And let's see, and I make multiple thumbnails. I have multiple titles prepared, and I usually give it at least 6 hours. And if the analytics aren't doing what I was hoping they were going to do, I make changes. Well, we don't want that. I make changes to it. So this one, we'll go here. This is the third thumbnail that I've run on this video, and it's actually been bringing my click-through rate up. It's bringing my views up. I changed the title because the title used to say to catch a predator, how to catch a predator, a muskie fishing film. I've since changed it to Lake St. Clair Spillway fishing for monster muskie, and then I put this thumbnail in. But my intro right here,
got him.
so I tried to
Waiting on a bite window.
show the people, I guess,
Come on.
what to expect in the first 30 seconds of the video.
Oh my God. Right there. Oh, I'm on.
Straight up in the ghetto fishing. So that's one thing I try to do, is just use that as like not spoil the whole video, because you can spoil your entire video with your intro. So I try not to, but I try to give people, hey, like this video is 100% about muskie fishing, and this is what you can expect to kind of see. And so the average view duration on that it went down to around 9 minutes, but it's back up to 13 minutes for a 48-minute video. So that's over 25%, which is really good, because I always shoot for 25%. That's the goal I go for, is 25% of an average view. If you can hit 30, that's really good for long form video. Would you agree with that, Jay? Right around 30% is like basically killing the game, because the longer you can keep people watching, the more YouTube algorithm is going to reward you with more. They're going to show your thumbnail to more people. That's the YouTube algorithm. Keep them on the platform as long as you can, and they will reward you with putting your thumbnail in front of more people that like to watch that content.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree. And I think it's also more of it's more than percentage. It's also like just straight up minutes. Like if you have 20%, but your video is an hour, like yours is, Lucas, or almost an hour, I mean, that's way better than getting 40%, but it's a 4-minute video. You know what I mean?
And those
Like getting those
videos,
straight up minutes are good.
in those long videos, although they're a grind to edit and all that stuff, those are the ones that pay the best. That deer camp video I had before I deleted it on accident, I made almost $3,000 off that one video, and it was only up for 3 weeks.
Wow.
But so here's one thing I am trying. I still have the original copy of that video, and this is where I'm going to get into timing. I was talking about timing earlier. That deer camp video, the reason it does so well every year is because it's properly timed and it's the perfect topic for that time of year. So what I've learned over the last 3 years of putting out a deer camp video, if I can get one of the first ones out, it's going to kill it. It's going to get tens of thousands of views. It's going to grow the channel as far as subscriber count, watch time, all that good stuff. But it's a properly timed video is all it is. So one thing I've never done, and I'm going to do this year, is I'm going to re-upload that. I've already since re-uploaded it, but removed it because it was too late. I deleted it. It was December, deer season pretty much over. It's not a hot topic. So I'm going to re-upload that video middle October this year. Because even though it had reached 86,000 people, there's millions of people out there that are potentially outdoorsmen and hunters and never got a chance to see it because it got removed.
Mhm.
And there was a question in that Facebook group the other day. Scott Hill had asked, he's like, what are you guys' opinions on re-uploading content for when a new season comes around? Like you take a video and you re-upload it. And I said, honestly, I've never done it, but I'm doing it this year with one video in particular because it was such a good video. I cut it off on accident. So it was a heartbreak, but I'm going to try it this year and see what works out. But dude, that was killing it. Like I said, it was right around $3,000 off 100% advertisements. Like no strings attached, no contracts to sign other than with with AdSense, but no brand deals, no nothing.
Well, now
So
you
you can
know
see
when
how-
you go to when you do your next one, throw in some affiliate codes or something in there that to double
Yeah.
that money, man.
Well, maybe. But so yeah, I don't always put out the long ones. I try to keep my long form videos over 10 minutes, but no more than 20. Like that's the average I usually go for if it's just an action video. Because to be able to keep people's attention of just me sitting there fishing, I have a hard time watching anybody else doing that, right? So for me, it's like I've got to come up with a method to make it entertaining yet informative and enjoyable for people to watch. Because I like to teach people things in every video, at least give them something to learn, maybe something new to learn in each video. But I also like to try to entertain. But it's hard to just put out a 25-minute video of highlight reel of catching fish. People will watch it, but only so much of it.
Yeah.
So as far as thumbnail, there's a dozen apps out there you can use. I use the hell do I use? I use Pixar. I pay for Pixar. That's the app I use for thumbnails. It works really well. There's all kinds of shit you can use, but have you ever, so on Instagram, Brandon, have you ever taken a video that did really well, like a reel, and just repurpose it?
Sort of. Yes. A couple like exact repurposes, but like one I just recently did was a different version of a reel that did really well. But I try to avoid. So I see the value in that, and I certainly don't discourage it. It's your content. It's your page. Do what you want with it. I do know that there are a lot of people who pay a lot of attention to what I do, and I feel like I owe them a level of creativity and originality that maybe repurposing content isn't going to bring them. But that being said, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do if you're struggling to find some new material or whatever. So I have, but very rarely. As far as the the thumbnail thing, Canva is what I use. Editing is Premiere Pro. I'm pretty boring. CapCut if I'm doing something simple. I'm taking more GoPro footage and incorporating it into my Instagram stuff. The goal here for me, I agree with you guys on the short stuff. I hadn't really thought of it like that, but it makes a lot of sense on what you were saying as far as the viewer diversity or whatever. But TikTok will pay you to do videos, but they have to be over a minute. So I find value in finding a way to make videos that are interesting and good in over a minute that I can post to TikTok and get money from those, but also try to, for lack of a better term, not have to duplicate that content and try to just slice it out of the long form videos as much as I possibly can. So I've been trying to do more voiceover stuff. I may incorporate that more into my long form content because, like you said, sometimes people don't want to just sit there and watch you cast and retrieve, and if you're not, one of the things I struggle with on the water is if I'm not catching fish, I'm less excited and I'm less talky. And then all of a sudden you're catching fish and you've just spent a lot of time not filling in those blanks. And so either you run out of time or you're just boring. And so I've really tried to figure out how to keep it more interesting. And Firecut is another program I use, I think is what it's called. And it's basically an add-in extension on Premiere Pro, which helps you to eliminate silences. So what I like to do is just Firecut the video. It basically slices out all the silences. And so you have all the action packed parts. And if it cuts pieces out of, like, say a fish catch, say I catch the fish while I'm fighting the fish, I'm quiet. I could still go back in and separate that and then extend out the piece that they cut out of it. And then I have less editing to do in the video than I would have if I had to go through and jump cut and do all the stuff through it. So it's like, I spent a lot of time figuring that out. I call it sharpening the saw, where it's like working on my craft so that when I actually execute it, it takes less time. And so it's more efficient. And then I don't have to spend 8 hours editing a video. I can Firecut it. I'm already down to kind of I'd say 50% product. And then I just tweak it. And then I'll do a 75% product. I'll watch it. And then I'll cut it again for the final cut. And then I'm good.
It's a similar process. Do you use the highlight button on your GoPro?
I don't. No, I suck at using my GoPro, to be honest. No.
So I'll give you
get better at
one of my best tips for GoPro is whenever you want a clip that is something you want to go back to, rather than having to cipher through all the footage, if you just press the power button once, it makes a highlight. So when you're do you use the GoPro Quick app?
No.
Okay, so they have it. They have the app available for PC and cell phone. But when you use the GoPro Quick app, you pull up all your clips. It links right to your GoPro. It pulls up all your clips that have the highlight. And then it'll pull that clip up with the highlight, and you can clip out. Rather than downloading the whole 8-minute clip or 9-minute clip, you can just grab that 1 minute and then drop it over here. I mean, that's one thing I learned, because I plug in an external battery and I just record constantly. And then when I got a spot in the video that I want to go back to for editing, I just hit the power button. Whether the GoPro's behind me, I'm on the kayak, I reach back, grab it, hit the power button, stuff it back in the thing, and then I know that's a part I'm gonna have to clip out for a video. It saves a lot of time. Saves hours.
Yeah, I use the looping function quite a bit, 5-minute loops. So let's say jack shit's going on the whole time, and then all of a sudden I catch a fish. When I'm done weighing, measuring, releasing, all that stuff, I'll just hit the top button. It'll capture the last 5 minutes, and then I'll hit it again, and then it starts to record again. And then so ultimately I have multiple 5-minute clips, instead of, or if it's less than 5 minutes between the time that you press the button and then you press it again, it's however long that clip is. But basically, it's the same thing. It's just already cut for you.
Okay.
And what that does for me, I do the external battery too, but what that does for me is it actually saves your external battery because it's not constantly draining. It drains less. I don't know how it drains less, but you can run all day long, no issues. And I can run it on both. So if I loop the back camera and the chest camera, I make the catch, I put the fish away, I click the button, it goes deet, deet, deet. I click it again, it goes deet, deet. It's recording again. I do that on the back. And then when I go to sync them in Premiere Pro, there's equal amounts of clips, and then they just kind of align. And then usually, since I've got a chest mount and a back camera running, I don't need an external microphone unless it's like a super windy day or something like that. So that saves that audio file from having to sync as well. Sorry, but I went on a tangent.
No, that's good. No, it's good. It's good. It's good to hear how people do different things, because I do it the way I do it just because it's what I've learned over time doing it. And I know Brian, I don't know if he's still here watching or not. I believe he uses the loop function, and he does a lot of the audio syncing, and he's showed me how he does some of that stuff. But the GoPro mic is phenomenal for what it is, especially if it's not windy. I've noticed it really pulls good audio without any type of extra microphone kit added or anything like that. So let's scroll through here. One thing I wanted to do quick while we got you guys here, I wanted to look at, so the kayak, I know I brought this up earlier, but Brian was talking about, we were talking about the Bassmaster, and that was the Elite Series at Toledo Bend, which Kayak, this guy won, which we were all watching. I was rooting for Ben Milliken, 100%. Let's go here. I got to share it. Forgot to share it. Share screen. I was rooting for Milliken just because I've been a big fan of his for a while. So we got here, but this was the Yamaha Right Waters Bassmaster Kayak Series at Lake Murray. So we'll go to the results.
So what's funny is this Robert G. feller. I don't know where he is, and this is the kayak one, but on this is the kayak Elite one.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is the kayak one. I'll pull up the other dudes here quick, but I don't know Bailey personally. I follow him on Instagram. Looks like he took third, which 183 inches. I follow Casey Reed. He's in Old Town. Just trying to see Jody Queen.
Ryan Nye is with Martin's Custom Baits, which is a company I work with.
Okay.
Yeah, Russ Snyder's. I think he won. I don't know if it was a TOC last year. He won. He popped up a lot last year.
He got him a top 12. Adam Milstead, he's a guy with Native, top 20. Dude, there was so many people in this tournament. This is what the Native No Limit's going to look like this year at Lake St. Clair, dude. I think there's going to be 200 plus anglers there.
So speaking of kayak tournaments, I've been working with Drew on the Kayak Adventure Series, which is a new, trail, I guess. It's a national trail, though. So there'll be, I don't know if you guys are going to be around Whitehall, Michigan, but they're fishing in Whitehall in the summer, and I'm actually going to that one. So if you're there, we can meet up.
Yeah, I looked at it. I followed his page and did all that. I would definitely like to join in on that one because it looks like a pretty cool setup.
We're also, I don't know how far away you guys are, but we're also, and I'll have to check kind of the list and all the other things, but he's got me and Ryan Reed working on kind of the influencer coordination. So we've been able to work it out to where if we've got, they basically have, I told you about the tourism places. Well, they have like a Airbnb that they kind of rent out, and it's kind of like we try to give the influencers like a place to crash for free when they come to these tournaments, just as like, hey, come out to the tournament, make content, and then bring your followers, and it kind of builds the hype a little bit with it and stuff. So it's a good
Yeah.
opportunity for people to do that. That Robert G guy just signed on with Crocagator, which is a company I worked with last year. So good for Joey.
You know, I
and-
seen that on his boat. I remember seeing the sticker, and I thought about that because I know you were working with that Crocagator. So this guy here, I was curious because I never look at the cash winnings, right? I always knew the first place took 100,000, but look at the gap there. I mean, 100 grand to 35 grand per second, 30, 25, 20. I mean, it's still good money to be made, but I thought it paid out a lot better to these guys that were in like the top 25. I mean, 10 grand is still good. But man, there's a lot of money that goes into one single tournament for these guys, right?
Yeah, and those entry fees are wild.
Yes.
Yeah, I think. Well, I don't know what the Bassmaster Elite entry fees are, but truthfully, this is just to pay for gas and operating expenses. The winning in the top 20s and all that other stuff is the sponsorship stuff. That's where they make their, get their boats paid for and all that stuff.
Right. Let's see. There's going to be an angler cap for the Lake St. Clair No Limit event. I don't know that there's going to be. I doubt it. I mean, he says think there's going to be, or is that a question, or is that a statement? I guess I don't know. I doubt it because why? The more the merrier, right? We had 130 for that event last year, but it wasn't the native No Limit. It was just part of the Michigan Kayak Trail tournament series, right? But now every year native takes over one tournament. Last year it was Saginaw Bay, and that was, I forget how many I want to say 150 were in that one. But this year, dude, Lake St. Clair world-class smallmouth fishery, that's going to bring people from multiple states. We usually get guys from Ohio, Indiana, stuff like that, but there's going to be people coming from a long ways. There's a lot of money.
I was going to make it out there, man. I wanted to go so bad, but I won't be able to do it.
No?
Mm.
I wish you could, man. I'd show you the juice.
Yeah, heck yeah.
It's a fun lake, dude, but it's huge. It's huge, but it's so much fun. So are you doing tournaments this year?
Yeah, I'm doing the Shoalipalooza in Georgia as part of the Kayak Adventure Series. I'm going to head out to BASS at Guntersville with Ryan. And then I'm doing the Whitehall, Michigan tournament with Kayak Adventure Series. And then I'll cherry pick one or two other tourneys. But kind of like you talked about, Jay, like this is my get better year. So I'm not doing that. I'm going to those things, but I'm only going because it's like for fun. I'm not hyping myself up like I'm going to Guntersville. I'm going to win a tournament, but I will tell everybody, I always tell people, like I am a competitive person, but I also have realistic expectations and I know what my limitations are. So if I were really good at fishing and I went to Guntersville, I would expect to win, but I know that I have limitations. So, it is what it is, but I hope to get out to those locations. If anybody's watching this and wants to come out and say hi, I'll bring some merch and some stickers and, we'll chop it up and we'll do some videos and we'll go fish. It'll be fun.
Yeah. You're not coming out to that Fiesta on the Susky, right?
I can't make that one. I got work, but I'm also going to make ICAST this year too. So
nice.
That would be fun.
Yeah. Well, Lucas and I talked about trying to make it out to ICAST.
We got to get somebody to get us in the door. Type of thing.
Yeah, and that's something I need to work on too. I think I think I know enough people to get in the door, but you gotta find the right person, I guess is the answer to that question.
Yeah.
Like when you offload all of your companies, it's really hard to get into ICAST because you've offloaded off all your companies. So
right.
And that is a vendor deal. So it's not open to the public.
All right, fellas. I think we got a lot of good information out of this one. I know I did for sure. And again, Brandon, if you got any questions, don't be afraid to read. And I'm always reaching out to you on Instagram too and stuff like that and tagging you. But I want to get better at making content on there. I just never went all in on it, right? Like I just post random shit. Like I'll post a picture if I went out and did something and I'll make reels. But it just seems like for me, the reels that do really well, I didn't even expect them to do well. Um, it's just like, wow, this one's taken off. Some ideas that I thought were cool did do really well, like hundreds of thousands of views, I guess. I think the best one I got on Instagram is like 700,000. And it was just taking my sunglasses and showing a river and then put my sunglasses in front of the phone because there was bass there, but you couldn't see them otherwise. And just to show the polarization of the sunglasses, and it's got like 700,000 views. And I was like, this was the easiest thing, like zero thought process went into it. So that's like for me, that those are the ones that just seem to randomly do good. But um I understand the process of it. I understand the more you keep the person and the whole caption thing and to get people to click this and read this and do that and then have a loop play so it continues to keep playing while they're trying you got to call to action, click the caption for this and that, and it's going to continue to play your reel. And I understand the process, how all that works, but to come up with ideas for me, that's where I struggle. It's like, well, what can I do that is actually to incorporate that, to incorporate the system that is proven to work, right?
I don't
And the
know.
trend
You just, what do you like to watch?
for me,
Yeah.
on Instagram, just dude, I super swipe. Like I don't watch. I usually don't watch full reels. You know what I mean?
Well, I guess that's my thing is like, I have a personal Instagram page. So, like watching for no purpose whatsoever is for that page, but for the Instagram page on Dust Off Fishing, it's business. So what do? I go to the little FYP and I watch, and whatever I watch that I like, I save, or I think, how can I make that fishing, or how can I make that funnier, or how can I make that put my little spin on it, or whatever. And so the sole purpose, it's just like you said with the thumbnails and all the other stuff, is that, or the script, right? Like the minute that you start to look at it like it's a job, and your job is to find the funniest, most interesting, most effective way to bring short form content to your audience, and then you have to do that by researching, which is basically scrolling and searching, then that's how you find like all that stuff I come up with. I mean, I have come up with my own original ideas that have done well, but I will find stuff in hiking. I will find stuff in golf. I will find stuff in my wife sitting next to me in bed, laughing her ass off about something, shows it to me. I'm like, oh, I can use that for fishing. And so there's a ton of stuff that you guys can use, and anybody watching this can use to be, you don't have to be the most creative person. You just have to be able to translate what you're looking at and how do you bring it to your audience in your own way. And that's what I do. And you got to have, there's three things you need with each reel. And all that stuff you said is great, but it's got to be rememberable, shareable, or informative. Like it has to tell a story that keeps the viewers' interest. It has to be something that's relatable so that they can share it with their significant other, or it has to be so fucking awesome that they can never forget it. That's why 20-pound largemouth bass do well on Instagram. It's not because it's awesome, right? But you can't go out and catch a 20-pound bass every time. That's the goal. But like, if you can't get a 20-pound bass, then you have to have the other two, which is relatable and shareable, right? Or informational.
Right. No, I like that. And so like a lot of stuff I do watch is, it's motivational type stuff. And that's the stuff that just fills my algorithm, right? So I do watch a lot of that type of stuff, and I will watch it, over and over again. But a lot of the stuff I watch is that type of stuff. But now I did
And I don't
TikTok the
find
other
that
day.
does all that well with fishing. It does not.
No, no. So that's why there's no way I haven't found a way to incorporate that at all.
Like all the workout channels and all the
Yes,
self-improvement people, like that stuff does great. But for us, like I love working out and motivation stuff, but that does
right,
dookie.
right,
Like fishing people are, I hate to say it, but they're kind of rednecks. Like, they got a real small sense of humor. Like they like fart jokes and they're
right.
just not sophisticated.
So
So do
do
So I'm including myself in this, like we're not
yeah,
super
no, exactly.
sophisticated. That's why the Ned rig thing is so funny to people, because it's basically like saying you have a small dick. Like that's all
Right,
that is. You fish with a Ned rig, you've got a small,
right.
and then it allows
Um,
people to take sides.
and I had a TikTok that did really well recently, and really well for me on a TikTok. I've got TikToks with 3 million views, but the one, like if I can get 7 to 10,000 on TikTok, it's great for me. But I went into Walmart and I'm like, and I had already walked down the aisle and seen there was sales, right? So I'm like, oh, this is a great opportunity to make a short TikTok out of, right? So I'm like, don't sleep on Walmart's fishing section. And I turned around, put a little clip up, and I walked down, and there's $1.50 Cincos, right? And they had a whole row of them. So I thought it was a cool opportunity to be like, hey, if you don't stop at Walmart to look at the fishing gear, you should, because I just found a pack of 6 Cincos for $1.50 when they're normally $6 or something. And dude, it has like 15 shares, and that's where they really start taking off. People start sharing them and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, that's sweet. The easiest, the dumbest video I've done. I mean, zero effort into it. Or for me, they always end up being the ones that just do well.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I gotta, like, when the moment strikes me, that's when I gotta make sure I record it, because those seem to do well.
I haven't looked here, but like I went out to the river the other day to fish, and I never bank fish. And that sounds so snotty, but just like I just never bank fish. And I went out there and I didn't catch a shitting thing, and I lost like 10 lures, because you can't go out to the tree and get them like you can in a kayak, right? So, and I was just pissed. So I was like, I'm gonna make a video. So I just put it up to my face and I said, well, my wife asked me to declutter my fishing stuff, and so I went out to the river and bank fished and lost $100 worth of lures. She's welcome. And I put that on the TikTok, and it did well. I mean, so sometimes, like you said, emotion, people are attracted to authenticity. If you can be authentic, you're already winning ahead of the game.
Yeah. I agree 100%. That's why I tell people getting into YouTube, it's like, just essentially just be yourself. It's uncomfortable sometimes. People, talk to the camera because you're talking to nobody, but you have to pretend that even if it is only 100 people, if you take those 100 people and put them in a small room, that's a big crowd. So, and again, I get beat up on myself sometimes. I'm like, man, my video only got 300 views. Yeah, but you take those 300 people and put them in a town hall, that's a pretty big crowd for a town hall, So I try to recenter myself with stuff like that, because there is times where I feel like a video should do good, and it just tanks. And it's like, man, why do I do this? Why do I keep doing this? But then again, there's people that enjoy watching them. And even if it is just that 300 for that video, those 300 people really enjoyed the hell out of it, and left a comment, did all that type of stuff. And those call to actions really help with the algorithm as well, because every comment that is put on a YouTube video gives you an opportunity to respond or potentially ask a question back to a person. And then if they answer, then it gives you, so every time you respond, it's another comment, and the algorithm notices that stuff, which is the one thing I've always done is I respond to every single comment that I get on YouTube. Like every comment I get, I respond in a timely manner usually, but I respond to everyone. There's a lot of creators that don't, but I respond. It's been like a thing I've always done, is just every comment I get, respond to it. Which is just something I do. There's a lot of channels I watch that they don't respond to any comments. I'm like, bro, I'm not even going to leave a comment because I see you don't respond to anybody's comments. So why am I going to leave one? So, all right, bro, it was a good talk, man. Maybe we can we can do something again in the future. I was glad to be able to work this out because our schedules, we're doing Jay's podcast like every other Sunday kind of thing going on. And we were trying to get everything scheduled and figured out. And I'm just like,
Mhm.
it's a lot to do, but I also do live streams. So that's one part of my YouTube channel is in the wintertime, more or less. I incorporate live streams. I try to do them Sunday nights. And it's just for me, it's a way for people that watch me, they can get a more personal, connection with me. And then people I want to bring on and bullshit with because people watch my videos, they just see me for what I'm doing. But to be able to hop on here and talk and bullshit with whether it's just me or a couple people or whatever, it's just to me, I feel like I owe it to the people that want to watch my
Mhm.
content I put out. I can give them an opportunity to ask me questions or do shit like that. And something I enjoy to do as well. And I try to get better at being more consistent with the live streams. Your live streams aren't going to grow a following, but it'll keep your following that you have strong. And that's just kind of my opinion on it.
Mhm.
Cool stuff. And people like watching. I mean, you've seen the comments. There's people in here making fun of me because I got offered dick pills and all that shit. So I should have took that offer though, man. Could have really made a good comedy skit out of it.
Got to do it next time, man.
Wow. Yeah, I think that ship sailed. But I appreciate it, brother. So, are you fishing or are you working this weekend, or what do you got going on? You said you fished all day today, so you got your ass kicked. It sounded like.
I caught one fish, and this was like a section of the river that is very productive and usually really good. And it was one of those bluebird sky full moon last night. They probably ate all night long type of deals, and it just sucked today. God, it was terrible. People are like, well, your worst day fishing is better than your best day at work, and I'm like, yes, I don't know. I fly helicopters, so sometimes that's not really applicable. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I told you guys, I'm competitive. I expected to go out there and just wreck them today, and it was just awful. And so I'm trying to keep that perspective, but truthfully, I think it's okay if you're grumpy about stuff like that. Like people go fishing because they want to catch fish. They don't go fishing to go out there and enjoy it. That's called kayaking. Go do that. I am fishing.
Yeah.
So I went to catch the fish.
That's another reason
But I
I
did that.
incorporated live scope, man.
Yeah.
Because
You
I
couldn't
only get
use
so
live
much
scope in this place because like the water is
that deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it
But
wouldn't
for a
have done
lake
any
like
good.
Lake St. Clair, where it's just a giant flat and you're trying to find isolated boulders or this or that, and like, dude, I can drop that underwater and I can almost guarantee you every cast I'm making is in a fish's direction, which
Yeah.
is awesome.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. I just would never take that's why I have two
No.
kayaks. I love the MK for the rivers. If you guys don't fish rivers, like skinny rivers, the MK is awesome for that. And then obviously the autopilots for other things, bigger things.
So you're straight up Old Town now?
I am. Yeah, and I don't know anybody at Old Town. I've never talked to
Right.
an Old Town person in my life. This is just me picking the best kayak.
Dude, I
You gonna
picked
get
mine
sponsored?
up.
Well, they follow me. So maybe we'll see.
I picked up my
Lou's
Old
Fishing
Town.
followed me today too.
I saw
they
that.
did?
Oh,
Yeah, that
Nice.
was crazy. I love their reels. If you guys don't have a Lou's custom light shallow spool, and I know you're probably going to say you're a Shimano guy, and you're probably going to say I like Daiwa or whatever, and that's totally
Daiwa.
fine. Yeah,
100%.
but I will tell you that this Lou's Fishing custom light shallow spool is the furthest casting, smoothest jerkbait little reel I've ever fished. It's just amazing. It flew it threw like a little 3-inch swim bait today. Just just amazing.
Really?
Best
Is this
reel
something
ever.
new they come out with?
Yeah, it's new to this. It's like new this year. It's not cheap though. It's like $2.99. So it's going to be up there with like, it's going to be up there with like your Tatula, SV, TWSs, those things. Yeah, it's not cheap, but it was it's highly recommend.
So what's the water temp down there? I say down there because you are south of us.
It was people were swimming in the river today. I watched it.
Dang.
So it's got to be mid 50s. I mean, I didn't have a graph, but I watched.
I
people
can't
in it.
wait till we get to that water temp. I was out Thursday and it was 35 water temp.
Well, it was 73 here today. I have a sunburn.
I can't wait for that weather. It's coming though. We're supposed to be almost touching 70 this week. Guarantee you, I'm gonna be on Lake St. Clair this week. I don't know what day yet, but I'm gonna be I'm hopping out there. I want to be one of the first ones out there this year.
I want to make a trip up there and go fish with you. Lake St. Clair's got some beautiful smallmouth, and I love
Nice.
smallies. Yeah.
It's a amazing fishery. World class, absolutely. If you get the opportunity, I mean, even if you come up to Whitehall for that tournament, maybe come a day earlier and we'll go to Lake St. Clair.
Well, I feel better about that because I went to Lake Fork and I caught a 14-inch bass, 14-inch bass on a lipless. That was the extent of my trophy bass fishing in Texas. So,
yeah, I'm familiar with Lake St. Clair, awfully familiar. So depending on the season, I know right where they're at and what to use to get them, and can usually make pretty quick work out of it. Right, bro. I'm gonna wrap this up. I appreciate the time, Brandon. Again, I know you're a busy man, and I appreciate you being able to take the time. Again, I appreciate your service, military man, things like that, and I hope you next trip. I hope you do better in this one. You got anything special planned, or just gonna try to get out on the weekend or something?
first of all, thanks for having me. I enjoyed the chat, Jay. It was nice to meet you for the first time officially. I know we've texted on the DMs on Instagram once or twice, but
Yeah.
as far as fishing goes, Wednesday or Thursday, I'm going to go fish with Luke Ruth again. So, that's always a good time with him. We always catch fish. He could probably be, if he could just take that knob and dial it down just a little bit, he'd be a really good guide here in the Ozark region, because he knows how to fish these highland reservoirs and these lakes and these bluffs and all these things. And so I always learn something when I fish with him. So that'll be the next trip. And then I'll be in Michigan again in May, probably up at Traverse City. Traverse. So Traverse. So maybe we can hook up around then too. So
yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That'd be a riot. So I appreciate you guys again. Thanks again. And I'll be in touch, Jay and Brandon. I'll be in touch via DM. And if you guys don't, be sure to check out Brandon's YouTube channel. It's just Dust Off Fishing, right? I believe is what I got here.
Yep. Everything is the same. Dust Off _fishing on all the platforms. And if you like, basically my shtick is I fish Clearwater rivers in the Ozark region of Missouri. So that's kind of my shtick.
Yep, I got you right here. Here we go. Yep. So yeah, look them up, Dust Off Fishing for sure, 100%. You guys are familiar with Jay, so I'm sure you're already linked up on his channel. And again, thanks guys, appreciate the time, and I'll be in touch.
All right, guys.
All right,
Appreciate it.
See you. Thanks.
Yep.
Bye.
Good night.